Hey, my name is Jason Huerkamp, and I live right here in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul. And if you've never been to my channel, the purpose of this channel is to educate people about what it's like to live in various communities in the Twin Cities and a specific interest in housing and real estate in various cities around the Twin Cities. So whether you're relocating, upgrading, downgrading, or just curious about lifestyle in general, you're in the right place here. Talk about the first city that's on our list, and the first city is Northfield, Minnesota. Northfield, Minnesota is a really cool town. It probably is best known for the first daylight bank robbery by Jesse James and his gang. They even have an annual festival that's in September that's now called the Defeat of Jesse James Days. So Northfield is really interesting because it's about 40 minutes south of the Twin Cities, so you still have easy access to the airport. Additionally, with Northfield, it's got two colleges, St. Olaf and Carleton College. Now, St. Olaf, if you really wanted to go back, way back in the days, that was actually the school that one of the Golden Girls actually went to, was St. Olaf. And it was kind of interesting because Betty White was the character that went there. She commonly pronounced that many of the cities actually in Minnesota incorrectly. A lot of cities are Native American names, and she mispronounced those, Shakopee and places like that, which is actually pronounced Shakopee. So kind of interesting, but I digress. So let's get back to Northfield. Really cool small town. The Cannon River runs right through Northfield. Additionally to the colleges, you have a really vibrant community, various types of shopping. They do have some of the big box, whether it's a Target, or some of, the fast food chains. And then they also have really kind of small, unique restaurants there, like Revive, which is a fun place to go and eat, and trendy right on Main Street. So if you're looking for a really historic, old, small town vibe that still has some of that really kind of fun hustle and bustle of the colleges, you really should consider Northfield. It's great. It's only, like I said, about 10 minutes off of 35, about 40 minutes from the airport. These are in no particular order, and the second one that we're going to talk about is Stillwater. Now, Stillwater is on the very east side of the Twin Cities. It actually is right on the St. Croix River. The St. Croix River actually, at that point in Minnesota, divides Wisconsin and Minnesota. Stillwater is a very old historic logging town, believe it or not, and they would actually take and move logs down the river before they would really move logs via railroad, or nowadays, trucks and so forth. But Stillwater is really founded because of the logging industry overall, and a place for Minnesotans back in the late 1800s to go and cool off during those hot summer days and be down by the river. The river is probably really the focal point of Stillwater. Stillwater, again, is going to have a lot of your big box stores, very easy accessibility to the airport, probably really no more than about 25 minutes away at the most. You're going to have a various mix of housing in Stillwater. You're going to have some very old historic homes, and then additionally you're going to have some really brand new construction that's going on there. They've really done a nice job upgrading Highway 36 over time to make it so that it's really easy and accessible to get to 494, 694. So Stillwater, as far as things to do, again, very focused around the river. The other interesting thing is they have this really awesome antique scene. There's many antique shops that are in old historical buildings down by the river in what I kind of called Old Stillwater, where you have the Stillwater Lift Bridge, and there's just a ton of activity down there, from restaurants to entertainment. You can go on and take cave tours if you want. There's paddle boats that you can rent for weddings or anniversaries or reunions. So there's a ton to do in Stillwater, and that's why it's made this list as the number 2 place that locals in the Twin Cities really don't tell you about because they kind of want to keep them to themselves. The third place that we're going to talk to is New Prague, or New Prague, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Tomato, tomato, right? So New Prague is on the southwest side of the Twin Cities, and it is a very old, historic town that was found by a lot of really Germans and Polish people. That's kind of like the descent and where the name came from. So with New Prague, it is got fairly easy accessibility to overall the Twin Cities. You know, if you wanted to get to the airport, it probably is going to take you pretty close to about that 40 minutes. The town itself is fairly isolated. There's not a lot of towns butting up to it, but that's kind of the beauty of this town. If you go 5 minutes any direction from the middle of town, you're going to end up being in farm kit country, really, right? They've just totally redone the main street in that town. It was a process that took them almost a couple years. So Main Street's been totally redone. They removed some of the stoplights. The awesome thing about New Prague is a ton of accessibility and walkability. And again, like the other communities that we've talked about, you have a real mix of homes in New Prague. You can have homes that were built in the 1800s, and you also can have brand new construction. You're going to have all the amenities that you're looking for, whether it's coffee shops or, McDonald's or various types of grocery chains, including Hy-Vee, which is one of my favorites. So New Prague, definitely a town that you should check out in the southwestern part of the Twin Cities. So the next city that we're going to talk about is North Oaks. And North Oaks is probably one of the most secluded private communities in the Twin Cities. It's located on the northeast side of the Twin Cities, and it's only probably about that 30 minutes, 35 minutes from the airport. The interesting thing about North Oaks is not only do the residents own the lots, obviously you would with your home for the most part, they also own the roads. So there are so few homes in North Oaks that you will never really even find addresses that have more than 2 digits, right? So you'll find like 6, the house number will be number 6, or the house number will be 72. But that is the most that you're going to find as far as the house numbers. So it's that small of a community. It's very private, very secluded, very high end. A lot of very expensive homes, especially for people that work on the east side of the cities that make it a decent amount of money. North Oaks tends to be one of those communities that people gravitate towards just because of the privacy and the seclusion, and it's just beautiful. It's got a lot of winding roads, a lot of very mature old oak trees. It's really close to some of the orchards that are on the eastern side of the Twin Cities. So North Oaks makes our list because it's a great secluded place to be that even many Minnesotans don't know about. So the next place that we're going to talk about, which is a little bit further away from the Twin Cities, but is one of those up and coming kind of cool second tier cities in Minnesota, is Mankato. And Mankato has Mankato State University. It also has a regional airport that's right there where you can land quite a few various different styles and sizes of jets and airplanes, and a place that I actually went to school to become a commercial pilot. So Mankato's really an interesting town. It's got that cool college vibe. There's actually 2 colleges in the town, the biggest being the University of Minnesota Mankato, or Mankato State University. And additionally, there's a really old historic downtown because you have the Minnesota River that runs right through the city of Mankato. So the housing can vary greatly, again, like most of the other cities that we've talked about. You can get some really old homes that were built in the 1800s, and you can get very much brand new construction. So there's freeways being 169 and Highway 14 that give you easy access to the Twin Cities or to other arteries as far as means of transportation with roadways. So Mankato really has that fun college town feel. They get a lot of kind of really world-class acts, and their event center down there. So great place to look if you're looking for something that's a little bit more secluded. You know, from the airport itself, you're probably right at that hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes to get from Mankato to the airport. But again, one of those really cool towns that not a lot of people talk about. Even if you live in Minnesota, you might not realize how cool and interesting Mankato is. So the last but not least that we're going to talk about today is Excelsior. And Excelsior is on the southwestern side, really, of Lake Minnetonka, and it has a really, really cool vibe and downtown to it. So it's right on the shores of Lake Minnetonka. The downtown is really, really cool and unique. It has quite a few dining options, quite a few bar options if you're looking to get a drink and cool off on those hot summer days. It also has chartered excursions that are right out of the bay there that you can take and go various parts of Lake Minnetonka. The housing stock overall, it can vary, right? It can be stuff that is, you know, right around that $400,000 range, quite frankly, all the way up into the tens of millions of dollars. The most expensive homes in the entire state of Minnesota are located on Lake Minnetonka, and Excelsior is no exception because it's located right on Lake Minnetonka. So Excelsior, really, really cool. Western side of the lake, southwestern side. As far as accessibility to the airport, super accessible, right? You can get to the airport in under 30 minutes again. And, you know, the age of the homes that we're going to see there are going to vary again. You can find some homes still that are in the early 1900s, late 1800s, and there's a lot of new tear down where they're tearing down those homes that were built in the 1800s or the 1900s and building brand new ones, frankly. So Excelsior, another great place to check out. In fact, I would put all of these towns on my bucket list to go spend a Saturday, go spend a Sunday, go take and, you know, walk them. They're very walkable. They all have very unique and interesting dining options that you won't find really at any of the rest of them, especially if you're willing to be adventurous in what you're looking for in your food and your cocktail menu. So I really encourage you guys to go and check out all of these little small towns. And some of them aren't really so small. They're actually cities, but they do have some of that small town feel. So here's the thing. If you're serious about moving to the Twin Cities, don't just think about the house or where you're going to live. Think about the community, because you need to be part of a community, at least in my opinion. So whether you're just starting the process or you've been looking for years, we really would like to be your resource. We're here to help you navigate through communities that best fit the needs of you and your family. So again, I'm Jason Huerkamp with Living in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we'll see you at the next house.